Let's jump right into the mystical source code of the Zohar, specifically Parashat Vayechi. We are looking at something absolutely mind-blowing today. We're going to uncover how ancient numbers aren't just, biological ages from thousands of years ago. They're actually encoded system logs for human history. We're going to explore how specific numbers act as numerical sequences and algorithms that are literally driving the entire cycle of exile and redemption. To really wrap our heads around the scale of this, I want you to picture the shifting sands of ancient Egypt. Now, imagine those sands just seamlessly transforming into this glowing digital cosmic clock. Floating right up there in the sky are two massive numbers, 110 and 147. Below them, we see the patriarchs Jacob and Joseph. But here's the key. They aren't standing there just as historical figures. In this framework, they're standing there as living, breathing timelines.
So, the million-dollar question we have to ask ourselves right off the bat is this. Are these numbers, 110 and 147, just the literal biological ages of Joseph and Jacob when they passed away? Or is there something much, much deeper going on here? The texts we're diving into today reveal that these are actually encrypted algorithms. They literally dictate the cycles of exile and ultimate redemption. Think of them as system logs tracking the recursive loops of humanity's trials and our cosmic triumphs, written straight into the source code of the universe.
Here's the roadmap for how we're going to crack this code today. We'll start with the cosmic clock awakening, then unpack Sod, the encrypted source code. From there, we'll look at Joseph's 110 algorithm, Jacob's timelines of 147, the color shifts from judgment to mercy, and finally, unlocking the final level. Let's get right into it.
First up, Sod, the encrypted source code. This is all about understanding the mainframe of reality itself. If you're familiar with the Kabbalistic tradition, you already know there are multiple layers of understanding these ancient texts. But the absolute deepest level is called Sod, which translates literally to secret. I want you to think of Sod as the encrypted source code that runs reality's entire operating system. It's the back-end programming. So when the Zohar talks about biological ages, it's not giving us a dry history lesson. It's actually handing us encoded timestamps and system logs that track the hidden cycles of the universe. And this brings us perfectly to how Jacob and Joseph operate within the Sephirot. The Sephirot are essentially the channels connecting the infinite down into our finite physical world. On one hand, you have Jacob, representing Tiferet, which is beauty and balance. In our cosmic technology, he is the harmonizing algorithm balancing out all the timelines. On the other hand, Joseph represents Yesod, the foundation. He acts as the recursive loop. He's the function actually executing the code and channeling these enormous historical cycles right down here into the physical realm.
Moving on to Joseph and the 110 algorithm, which serves as the precise numeric trigger for exile.
The text tells us Joseph lived exactly 110 years, but the Zohar, specifically over on page 212b, drops this massive revelation. This is not just a biological lifespan, it's a highly precise timestamp. It is a symbolic structure that acts as a trigger for a massive, world-altering historical event. It's literally a piece of code executing. Let's actually look at the math behind this trigger, because it's absolutely fascinating. Okay, so according to the original decree given to Abraham, the total exile was supposed to be a solid 400 years. That was the intended system cycle. But the Zohar points out that the true counting of the bitter, intense Egyptian exile only fully activated upon Joseph's death. So do the math with me here. Joseph lived 110 years. Subtract that 110 from the total 400, and what do you get? Exactly 290 years. Joseph's passing at age 110 served as the exact numeric trigger that kicked off the remaining 290-year countdown. His lifespan was the executable code that launched the active, intense phase of the Egyptian exile. It's incredible when you see the numbers laid out like that.
Now, let's zoom out and look at Jacob and his timelines of 14:7, which map out the larger multi-stage cycles.
Jacob lived to be 147 years old, and what the Zohar does here is it takes this number, 147, and unpacks it like a massive compressed zip file. It is truly awe-inspiring when you realize that Jacob's 147 years aren't just an age, they act as a complex sequence of algorithms. This single number explicitly breaks down the entire future of humanity into specific encoded levels of exile and redemption.
The Zohar actually splits Jacob's 147 years into three distinct chronological exiles. First, you have 7 years, which represents the small, foundational exile of Egypt. Next, you have 40 years, the era of the Judges and Babylon, reflecting a serious biblical period of testing and endurance. And finally, you have the remaining 100 years. Now, in this cosmic code, the number 100 signifies a complete cosmic cycle. It represents the vast, incredibly long third exile, the massive recursive loop we are currently living through right now.
Next up, let's talk about color shifts, moving from judgment to mercy, and the metrics of our cosmic endurance.
To track our progress through these historical cycles, texts like the Tikkun Zohar explain that the system utilizes intense color shifts. Red signifies din, which means strict, exacting judgment. When the system is flashing red, it is intensifying the parameters of exile. The processing load is heavy, and things are incredibly hard for humanity. But conversely, white signifies rachamim, divine mercy. A shift to white signals a system transition. It means we're moving toward redemption, clarity, and relief.
Let's break down why this matters for us today. As we cycle through these historical stages, through the 7, the 40, and now the 100, we are constantly enduring varying processing loads. Red means the system is under heavy load, effectively burning off the spiritual impurities of humanity. But every single time we shift from red to white, it means humanity has successfully processed a layer of that cosmic data. We've completed a recursive loop. And the ultimate goal of enduring all these cycles, all these exiles, is to balance the mainframe entirely. We're pushing for a permanent shift to white, which is absolute rachamim and final redemption. Which brings us to unlocking the final level and really applying this cosmic engineering to our own lives.
I want you to think of all this exactly like a massive, multi-generational cosmic video game where humanity is playing through encoded levels. Step 1 is the code execution. We enter the exile, and the algorithm of 110 or 147 begins to run. Step 2 is the processing phase. This is our endurance through the historical cycles, battling our way through the red din metrics, through the intense trials of history. And finally, Step 3 is level unlocked. By understanding these numbers not as random historical tragedies, but as calculated, finite algorithms designed to bring about balance, we stop being victims of history. We can actually actively participate in unlocking that ultimate level of redemption and shifting the whole system to white.
We've seen today how the Zohar views history. It's not random chaos. It's a deeply encoded sequence of trials and redemptions. The 110 and 147 algorithms, the crucial shift from red judgment to white mercy, these are the actual system logs of our collective human journey. So as we endure the final stages of this 100-year cosmic cycle, the question is, are we merely passive data just floating through the mainframe, or will we actively participate in shifting our own code from red to white? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Part S. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.